brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because we would be mad as hatters to change it now. Don't you agree? Well then, wow! My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU! Hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows, including, but not limited to, Doctor Who, Downton Abbey, How to Get Away with Murder, Broadchurch, New Girl, Game of Thrones, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, American Horror Story, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Supernatural, and The X-Files from its inception through its revival. In addition, more episodes are in the works. Our Marvel Defenders panel will be discussing Luke Cage. We will revisit The Vampire Diaries. Our DCTU panel will be engaging in our mid-season roundup of the progress of Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. And new panels will cover Stranger Things and The Mindy Project. New series will examine Gilmore Girls, including the Gilmore Girls reboot A Year in the Life and Sherlock. And because we also look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at That 70s Show and Glee. What's more, CPU from time to time goes live. We've appeared at Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and at Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, while streaming live on Facebook. More live appearances are being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any one of those outlets aforementioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs-up comment or review. We like feedback. Just keep your guns holstered, people. Today we're around the water cooler to discuss Season 3A, otherwise known as the Mad City arc, of Gotham, the crime drama based on characters appearing in and published by DC Comics from the Batman franchise, primarily those of James Gordon and Bruce Wayne. The show's third season premiered on September 19, 2016. Created by Bruno Heller, the series stars Ben McKenzie as the young Jim Gordon long before he became Commissioner of Gotham City Police Department. As originally conceived, the series would have served as a straightforward story of Gordon's early days on the Gotham City Police Department force. The idea evolved not only to include the Wayne character, played by David Mazouz, but also to tell the origin stories of several Batman villains, including the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, and the Joker. In the first half of the third season, which occurs 6 months after the second season finale, Gordon has become a bounty hunter as he works to track down Indian Hill experiments that escaped 6 months earlier, as well as a revived Fish Mooney, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, who's recruited some of those experimentees to form another version of her gang. While planning to get Leslie Tompkins, played by Morena Baccarin, back, Gordon also encounters Carmine Falcone's son, Mario Calvi. Gordon also has to tangle with hypnotist Jervis Tetch, played by Benedict Samuel, who arrives in Gotham City to look for his lost sister Alice. Meanwhile, Oswald Cobblepot, played by Robin Lord Taylor, runs against Aubrey James for mayor of Gotham after Theo Gallivan's death, and he wins in a landslide. For now, our committed group of Bat fans, Hilary, Kyle, and Spencer, losing one of our former panelists, but gaining a voice new to the panel, but certainly not to the podcast, have reconvened or convened for a first time to dissect, for better or for worse, Gotham's Season 3. We're also going to speculate on what the second half of Season 3 might look like as the show progresses upon its Mad City trajectory. Before we do, I want to take a moment to double-check the panel's temperature and introduce our new panelists. After all, as we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or could continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire show to date and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points. So for those of you who are not caught up on Gotham, listen at your own risk as there are going to be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you today?
Good.
Amazing.
Great.
Yeah. Well, if you follow our podcast, that last voice will be familiar, but we're going to introduce him last, because what I'd like to do, like I said, is take the panel's temperature. And of course, we do that by reading the standard CPU character question, which of course changes with each show we do, and is once again tweaked for Gotham, because Gotham once again was different from the previous half seasons. So I'm going to read the character list, and I'm going to ask our returning panelists to tell us who their identified character is, and then we'll introduce our new panelist. Are you ready?
Yes.
Sure.
Good. Some of you aren't, but that's okay.
I'm reading the questions.
Okay. Fine.
Doing my homework late, just like in college.
Oh. Yeah, me too. So how would you rate your interest in Gotham nowadays? Do you watch it for a more detailed backstory about the Cape Crusader, as you're interested in his childhood and what made him decide to fight crime as Batman, like Bruce Wayne? Do you watch it because you feel not enough attention has been paid to supporting characters in the mythology, and you wonder how everyone in Gotham City made the choice of the right or wrong side of the line? Or you're watching it because you're sticking with the show, for better or for worse, as you think it's fighting its way back from the darkness, just like you did, like Jim Gordon? Do you watch it to learn the backstories of Batman's biggest foes, and or for tips on how to be legitimate, and or both criminal and upstanding citizen at the same time, but not for love tips, because you kind of suck at love, like Oswald Cobblepot / the Penguin, or Edward Nygma / the Riddler? Do you watch it because you love the backdrop that is Gotham City, even though you know it has its flaws? In fact, you accept those flaws and are more than willing to navigate them if it helps get the job done, like Harvey Bullock? Do you watch it because you're very protective of the legacy of the franchise, particularly of the young boy who would be Batman one day, like Alfred Pennyworth? Do you watch it because you like the kids on the show? They make you feel younger, and or you are already young, and you don't have many friends because for you it's been about surviving. Also, you like young Bruce Wayne more than you want to admit, like Selina Kyle, a.k.a. Cat, although most of us know her as Catwoman. Do you watch it even though you think it's a little misguided, crazy, or even psychotic, like Barbara Keene or Tabitha Gallivan? Do you watch it because you think it's capable of change and has adjusted to its different directions smoothly, as you did with your career change to the GCPD, like Lucius Fox? Do you watch it because you're giving it one more chance despite your tempestuous history with it, including past disappointments, though you are reluctant to do so or are overcompensating for a bad chapter in the show's history that you haven't quite let go of yet, like Leslie Lee Tompkins? Do you watch it because you're ready to watch it burn for all the wrong it's done to you and your sister, perceived or real, like Jervis Tetch, a.k.a. the Mad Hatter? Now, I don't expect the rest of you to identify with these last three, but I included for comedy. You don't watch it because you don't really want to watch it. You're trying to undermine the whole affair by conspiring as leader of the Red Hood Gang, like Butch Gilzine. You don't watch it because you think it's corrupt or illegal and a bad influence on the mean streets you're trying to clean up. Plus, your brain is kind of addled by a random blood virus, forcing you to kill everyone you think is guilty, so, like everyone, like Captain Nathaniel Barnes. Or you don't watch it because you are too busy randomly growing into a sex pot who experiments with plant pheromones, which is close enough to plant hormones, like Ivy Pamela Pepper. Who would like to start?
I think we're all sex pots.
You do you.
I didn't realise it was going to be that kind of podcast. I'll start. I don't mind doing that. I'm going to say that I'm Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
I've transitioned from Harvey Bullock in the last half of season 2 to more of a Jim Gordon based on the blurb you had there. There are elements of the show that have improved. There are elements that have stagnated, but it's still interesting, and there's still backstories, and I'm still getting to see new villains, which is kind of the fun aspect of it at this point. The villains are truly, without the villains, the show would stink.
So tell us how you really feel.
I'll get to it.
That's true. Welcome back, Spencer.
Thank you.
I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
And I would say I'm probably as last time. I'm still Harvey Bullock. I see a lot of Gotham's flaws, but at this point, I just kind of roll with it.
Oh.
I mean, it's Gotham. It is what it is.
Okay.
I still enjoy it though. So.
Okay. Welcome back, Kyle.
Hi, I'm Hilary, Kyle's wife and the moderator sister.
It's all true.
And I'd have to say at the beginning of it, I was more like Lucius Fox. I wanted to believe that it's going to be better because I'm starting to waver. I'm starting to waver, people. I'm a big Batman fan. I always have been. And there's just certain things that I just, for my own personality and the way I think about things, sometimes can't get over. So because of that, I'm turning more into Lee Tompkins. I'm trying to give it more chances, but there's too much all over the place for me sometimes.
Well, the Lee Tompkins thing's at least justifies the sex pod.
Well, there you go. She is very beautiful.
Ivy.
Yeah, but Marina.
Yeah.
I put her on my girl list.
Okay.
No, you have her on too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
so much information.
She's much more comfortable at home than she is.
And a little bit of still Selena Kyle. I think I said that the last time. I feel like I'm trying to survive it all the time. I do like the kids on the show, but I do feel like I'm trying to survive it a little bit. And that's my spiel.
You did say that. Last time you were Harvey with a dash of Selena plus Penguin and Riddler.
It's changed.
Okay. Well, before I talk about me, we're going to welcome a new panelist. So for those of you who have been following our Gotham series, we previously had a panelist whose name was Jen. It should bear noting, hi Jen, if you're listening, that she jumped the shark. She no longer wants to talk about Gotham, watch Gotham, be involved with Gotham. So Jen left. Bye, Jen.
Sayonara, dude.
So there's that. So we actually had already invited this panelist, and he just, he was on it, and then she left. And if you follow CPU in general, you've probably heard his voice, especially on these nerdy podcasts. So what I'd like you to do, it is a nerdy podcast, I'm just being honest. So what I'd like you to do, even though people have probably heard it, is to identify yourself by your first name, how you came to watch Gotham, what made you start watching, how'd you find out about it, what kept you watching, and then pick from the extensive character description list.
No?
Yes, no!
Next time we meet, do a different one.
Okay, I'm Nick.
Hi, Nick!
Hi. I basically wrote this show off when it first came out because I thought, why would I watch a Batman show without Batman in it? Didn't make sense. But doing these other panels, I've run into this panel, these members, and they've been talking about the show and piqued my interest. Both their love and hate for it, depending on which part of what season.
It's so conflicting.
I know, I think if you all were like, it's great, you should watch it, I probably wouldn't have watched it yet. Or if you all said it was horrible, I wouldn't have watched it. But I think because season 1.5 was good, 2 is bad, now 2 and it. Okay, I gotta see what's going on. So that's why I started watching, and how I found out about it, I guess. It's easy to keep watching, because I basically just started by binging the first 2 seasons, and then keeping up with this one. So, I'm Tetch, because I want to watch it burn. Just kidding.
Oh, wow.
No, probably Harvey. There's definitely flaws to it, but I'm entertained by it enough. And I'm not a diehard Batman fan where I either know or care when it's not going with what has been set up by canon. Like, my introduction to Batman was reruns of Adam West Batman. So
It's probably best that you don't know.
What you don't know doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
That
So
was actually my introduction to Batman too, now I think about it.
Mine too.
it makes it easier to watch anything Batman. Unless Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing Mr. Freeze, then it's
That's
still
true.
hard.
No, Bat Nichols. That's all you ever need to
Bat
do.
Nichols.
George Clooney's Batman was.
Even he hates it, man.
Did I cover everything?
I think so.
Yay!
Welcome, Nick!
Thanks.
So what's funny is, for those of you who are following our comic book podcast in general, you'll know that Hilary, Kyle, and Spencer on all of them, okay? Except for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's kind of the aberration. And for a long time, Nick and Kristen were like, no, DC bad, we Marvel. And now Kristen...
Yeah, that's about how a Marvel fan speaks without,
Oh, boy.
long sentences.
There's some spicy words.
It's just for entertainment, people.
I see. So, in the meantime, Kristen, of course, if you've listened to our last couple of DCTU episodes, joined that panel. And so, since then, has Nick.
Yeah.
We have converted them to real comic books.
I don't work 4 months out of the year, and I have Netflix.
Well, that's some real talk. Well, let me talk about myself briefly. As you know, my name is Kylie. I think I've mentioned. Last time, I was Harvey plus the Penguin Riddler plus Bruce Wayne. I think I am still there. I actually liked this half of the season of 3 better than the second half of the season 2, but not as much as the first half of season 2. So there's that. There are still dramatic flaws, which we'll talk about. There are still some very questionable writing decisions, but I continue to remain endlessly entertained by the Penguin and the Riddler. Mm-hmm. They are the reason pretty much that I'm hanging on to the show. I don't think I would give 2 cents about really anybody else, even possibly Bruce and Alfred. I'm getting to that point with them a little bit. But I do like the younger villains, especially Penguin and Riddler. And this has been a very interesting half season for them, which we will talk about.
OMG.
So let's talk about Season 3A, which the show is calling the Mad City Arc. Of course, that probably makes a pretty handy reference to its primary new villain, which is Mad Hatter. But let's start with the basic thing. Talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, whether you liked it more or disliked it more. It should be interesting and various. Go.
What I didn't like and what I'm continuing to not like is how far Jim Gordon is away from Jim Gordon. The fact that he is so willing to cross the line that is against his entire character canon is really starting to piss me off.
Don't you think they pushed him that far and they're already done with it within this arc?
No, because they've already brought him up and down and up and down.
He's a yo-yo, and he keeps going across the line that is just so far away from the true essence of the character. I don't mind that there are, some license taken with character, but not to this extent. At this point, Jim Gordon is Harvey Bullock from the animated series.
Who's mostly good, but he's willing to cross the line.
He's mostly good, but willing to cross the line, whereas Jim Gordon is all good and not willing to cross the line.
Like ever.
But now he's crossing the line in one way or another all the time.
And Harvey's following.
Yeah, Harvey's more like Jim Gordon. It's ridiculous. They've got something completely crazy there, and that's probably my biggest gripe with the show at this point.
I think what I'll say to that I guess what I don't like is I don't feel the writers have an endpoint. Like, you think, we know the endpoint with Bruce Wayne is he'll become Batman, but I think a lot of the fans feel like they know the endpoint for characters. I don't think the writers do know where they're going to end up with Jim Gordon. He might not, if the show's long enough, he might not end up what we're all used to from all the other incarnations of Jim Gordon. And same with any other character.
Yeah, I don't know.
At this point, he's more likely to end up as Judge Dredd than he is Jim Gordon.
Yeah. I don't know if you're trying to say this, but we've talked about in the past how we don't feel like the people who are involved with the show are really knowledgeable about the actual material itself. And Spencer already said that he's fine with some license being taken with the characters, which I think we all said that in the beginning. Yeah.
As long as you stay true to the core of the character.
The core of the characters. They're not even staying true to the licenses that they originally took in the beginning, and it keeps wavering all over the place, which, I was basically trying to say in my character descriptions, it's making me waver all over the place, because my thing is character, story, and consistency. That's kind of a struggle bus for them a lot of the time.
Well, certainly the consistency piece. I think that's really the nail of the head that you're hitting right now. I can buy, not quite to the extreme that they've taken it. I can buy if their initial thought was, well, we have to take the Jim Gordon character down these dark paths so he can find whatever he needs to find to become commissioner of what's ultimately a crime-ridden and corrupt city.
How many times does he need to do that?
That's the question. and they're really strong vacillations. It's not even a little bit here, a little bit there. It's one extreme to the next. And the whole bounty hunter thing, which was the first half of this half of the season.
Well, those first 3 episodes...
Did different people write the season?
I was almost ready to write it off.
Because it felt like, oh, they left us somewhere we're not ready to go. Jim Gordon, bounty hunter, clean up what we left with everyone getting out of Indian Hill. It was like they didn't want to deal with what I would assume they wrote.
It does seem that way.
Or didn't deal with it well.
Another spot in this half of the season that did that was the Bizarro Bruce. It's like we've got this idea, let's do something with this, and about 40 minutes into this part of the idea they went, oh, this idea is shit, what should we do? It's
and
like,
then he disappears the rest of the season.
And he's gone.
Just like Fish Mooney. It's like they realize, oh, we brought her back, nobody wants her back, she's gone.
The funny thing there is, Fish Mooney, in the context of this half season, was the best of Fish Mooney we've seen entirely, because she was used in little pieces where it made some contextual sense and it wasn't over the top like it was with her originally.
Okay. No, I completely agree with Spencer there. I mean, I'm going to be the first person to hate Fish because, of course, I'm the first person to hate Jada Pinkett Smith. Sorry if you're listening.
Dude, I'm like tied with you.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Hashtag. But no, I agree. I think that because it was kept brief, there was a beginning, middle, and end for Fish. Where she ended up, how they kind of tied it off, that didn't bother me. What did bother me was you introduced this atrocious idea of the Bruce clone. When and how did Hugo Strange even have the chance to make that happen? They never explain it. He comes in, he stalks Selena for a while, then he stalks his double Bruce, the real Bruce, for a while, and then he's like, oh, bye, I live your life better, peace out, and jumps off the roof like he's mini Batman.
It was just so weird.
It was weird. It didn't make any sense. It didn't have any gel or fit.
I'd say any of the mutants from Indian Hills, none of that fit. It all just felt like a random X-Men plotline walking around in the first 3 episodes.
They were evil X-Men, and she was like dressed like Storm, and it was really annoying.
It felt like it was going to be, and maybe in the comics that's what Indian Hill kind of is, but an explanation to why Gotham has all these super villains. But because they cleaned it up and nothing came of it.
It really seems like the writers have ideas and no one's prepared to say in the writer's room, I don't know, I think that's a really bad idea, but let's try it anyway. And the Bruce thing really bothered me.
Yeah, not necessarily a bad idea.
That was the most annoying part of this entire half season
because
for me.
We all, if you recall, in the last
and he's gonna come back. Like, he's being used for like...
Because they have the actor.
Yeah. But not just that, but he wasn't... They took him, like, they're gonna use... Like, that's gonna come back later. That one lady. You know what I'm talking about?
Court of Owls.
Yeah, the Court of Owls. Yes. I don't remember her name.
Her name was Catherine.
Because I kept, like, my brain kept going
Yeah, but
away.
I mean, I would have put it past them in the writing of the show to just throw them away with one line of dialogue later. Like, they do stuff like that all the time.
It feels like bring them back with one piece of dialogue.
There's no writer or anyone in charge of the writers when one has an idea to say, what do you want to do with it? Not just, oh, that's a good idea, run with it. Like, where are we going?
Yeah, sure, let's see how
will it work together.
You know, it's almost like they're basing what they're going to do as if they're only filming 3 episodes at a time and then seeing the reaction on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's how this show feels to me at this point. It's so all over the place and reactionary to what we as fans or we as viewers say about it. And then they just put another bad idea in place and wait until we say that one's crap too.
When I finally got over, and it took a while, that somebody who looked exactly like Miss Kringle exists and found Penguin... And I was finally like, whatever, I guess I'll...
Found Riddler.
Yeah, sorry, Riddler. When I finally got over it, that's when they killed her, and I was like, what? Why did you even introduce her then?
Yeah. I liked her character, but I didn't like that she was so obviously...
I mean, it was far-fetched, but it made me feel like I started to have some slight interest in it for a second.
Well, I mean, I thought there had to be somebody behind it. Like, this perfect dream woman for Riddler just shows up, and she's exactly the same, and is into puzzles, and looks the same. Like, I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in what's behind that, and then apparently it was just a huge coincidence.
I was almost as upset when they killed her as I was when they introduced her.
I would have preferred...
Especially because I don't know why she didn't just turn the wheel.
Right. I would have preferred if they had cast a different actress that looked similar as opposed to using the same actress. Then it would have made sense. But for it to be the exact same actress, just...
Over the cheesy top for you?
Yeah. It pushed it too far.
In a season that has clones, too. Like, that was...
It has clones, but she's not one.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Well, we've said in prior episodes, and by we I mainly mean Spencer, but we've said in prior episodes, first of all, that these writers don't know the source material that they are potentially writing from.
That doesn't make sense. There's so many fans from decades
That's what
they can't
we've
find
been
one.
saying.
That's what we've been saying.
Okay.
We don't understand.
You have all this material to draw from, even in an origin type sense. There is no need to go so off kilter with all
And then
of it.
the other thing we've been saying is that even if you are going to go so off kilter, if you're going to create
Consistency.
Yeah, if you're going to create a world and you're going to establish some rules, like, for example, Jim Gordon is a right-on-the-line cop who has to live his day in, day out trying to make the right moral choice, but then your to-be Commissioner Gordon turns into this person who really cannot tell right from wrong. I mean, it's not the moral line, it's the moral extremes.
Almost in any other show at this point, he would be a serial killer.
Exactly.
Which just does not fit.
He's basically Dexter. So it's just...
I didn't think of it like that.
That's what I'm saying. So they're either borrowing liberally from other sources and being totally derivative about it. They don't know what they're doing. And yeah, the Bruce clone thing, if you all recall in the last episode, I know Nick wasn't here, there was major groaning on that last frame of season 2 when Bruce clone comes out of blurriness into focus. We were like, WTF.
With girly hair.
With girly hair.
That's
because
his Winter
he was the Winter
Soldier
Soldier, right. That was mentioned. That's how you know he's evil. And then where did it go? It didn't go anywhere.
No, it was the only place it went was the jump off the building to show, okay, he has powers, or he has advancement beyond
normal Bruce.
Where are they going to go with it? If they bring him back, is he going to kill the real Bruce and become the Batman? Or
that's just appalling.
Well, yeah, but that's these writers.
I know.
I was gonna say, they'll probably have him be Robin, and you'll get like Bruce and Bruce talking to each other, fighting crime.
No, Dick Grayson was born. We saw that. Of course, they might have forgotten that they did it, but we did see that.
In some regards, it feels like they had a bunch of contracted writers, and they said, we're going to do a show. How many of you know about Batman? None of you? Screw it. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. People will watch it anyway, which
we've got a character called the Joker. Do something with somebody called the Joker. Although, to be honest, he is the highlight of this next half of the season.
That's for the next
I know, but it's the only thing keeping me going.
He's getting antsy. I'd say Corey Michael Smith and Selena Kyle are my favorite parts. If we're going to talk about something positive for a second.
I would add Robin Ward Taylor to that.
Yes, but I don't like what they did with his arc.
I don't like what they did with his arc in this season.
And it's not his fault. And
because he acted it great. He maintained his character, but the storyline kind of just took this strange turn.
Which part of the storyline? That he became mayor? That he apparently is gay?
All of it.
Or that he fell in love with the Riddler?
All of it.
Yeah, pretty much 3 strikes right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so where I would come from is the mayor thing has been done, Batman Returns.
Right, it's a really shitty homage. Continue.
I mean, the mayor thing has been done in lots of comic books.
Second of all, if you were going to have a gay villain of the Batman universe, the Penguin would be my nomination. And also, the actor is gay in real life, so that's
fine. But I also feel like making a character gay is, for one thing, there's no problem with that. But it's also been done on a lot of shows already, and you don't need to do that with a Batman villain. There's already enough things about Penguin that make him awesome as he is, and it
just felt forced.
It felt forced. It was just dumb. Anyways, continue.
That part of it didn't feel forced to me. What did feel forced to me was that his inclination went toward Enigma, because it destroyed, in my view,
one of the other highlights.
Their
friendship.
Chemistry between the two of them. Their friendship.
Because you do understand this probably what's going to make them be like total enemies now in the future.
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah,
they came to Barbara. Barbara of all people.
Yeah, which again, another character that's been so entirely screwed up, because there is no way that her and Jim Gordon can now end up together and have...
I'm going to go on a limb and say that ship has long sailed.
Yeah, I don't think they're even
Is
doing
Barbara
that.
Keene in the comic books, is she the person who
She's
supposed to become Barbara Gordon?
No, she's Barbara Gordon's mom. So it's like, at this point, Jim Gordon's never going to have a kid with her and name her Barbara.
And Lee definitely lost the baby. We established that, so her pregnancy, which was really to cover up Marina Baccarin's real-life pregnancy,
with
Ben McKenzie, is no longer a thing. So, where does Barbara Gordon come in?
Yeah, so, because, like, Jim Gordon will never name his daughter Barbara at this point.
And Barbara, I'm sorry, but Barbara Keane as a character, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think she's
we don't like her.
Fish. And really, she's been way overused this time.
Can I tell you?
They try to make her crazy, like Harley Quinn.
Thank you. I was just gonna. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, especially in season 2 when she was actually paired up with Jerome for one episode, and
she looked very Harley-esque as his assistant, and that.
It's like, just stop it, though.
Yeah.
Just stop. That's not Harley Quinn either.
There's a lot of things they could do anything, and it wouldn't surprise me. But could Batgirl come in as stupid Alfred's niece, like in the movies?
God.
Sure. I mean, as long as she's not played by Alicia Silverstone, I think we're doing okay.
Careful what you say.
You know what? At this point, it doesn't matter what I wish for, because there's always going to be what we have established in all 3 seasons so far. Is that there have been gigantic flaws in every half season. The first half of season 2 was probably the top of the mountain. The top of the roller coaster, the first hill. We might be on a little tiny uphill on this season 3, but I don't know.
I feel pretty consistent. But did you want to finish your talking points after we went on?
A list.
I did have, we just... Like him.
We jump right into it, though.
Gotham is live right now with David Mazouz.
No way!
Record this.
Well, it's because he's probably pre-talking before.
Tonight should be a big episode.
Gotham.
Is it the premiere? From
no, it's the second. Last week was
the second. Yeah.
But this week we're seeing
this
Jerome
on January 23rd, which is a week after it returned from mid-season hiatus.
I will say I actually did. At first, I hated Mad Hatter in the first 2 episodes.
Mad Hatter.
He was
talk about him.
Yes, but I actually liked him when he was more unhinged. In the first 2 episodes, his one thing that really bothered me is he had the exact same introduction as Kilgrave on Jessica Jones, where he hypnotizes a couple and steals their house, which isn't Mad Hatter at all. Like, I hated how easily he could just hypnotize people. It felt more like a supernatural power.
Which isn't what he really does.
Which then they later drop, because then once he's crazy, I think they realized people didn't like that, because
it just goes away. To what's done on Twitter. This show does not feel like it's, we've recorded our 12 episodes, now we're going to release them. It really feels like they've got 3 weeks, they wait to see the reaction, and then they write the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, look at it. In his first couple appearances, the way he could hypnotize people and stay in their head, and then he never does that again, even when he's, cornered or in Arkham.
It also bothered Kyle that they gave so much attention to Mad Hatter, but then, breezed over other characters like Mr. Freeze.
Well,
is Freeze still, or I can't remember what happened.
He got knocked unconscious.
Yeah, the Indian Hill people that ran away from the bus, I don't think they've all been accounted for.
No.
Well, he fought Firefly and was knocked unconscious, so I would assume he's still arrested somewhere.
Oh, well, there's that. To Mad Hatter, though, I didn't hate this portrait. It's not the Mad Hatter that we know.
What's the Mad Hatter that you know? Because I'm still picturing this.
Well, if you picture him in the way he is in Arkham with Jim, where he's very unhinged, that's
and
more
very rhymey.
Very rhymey. That's more him from the comics, but he doesn't control people's minds like a hypnotist does. He creates these bands that he puts in hats.
Yeah, he's got.
It's like a control chip that connects to your brain.
I actually enjoyed the scene in Arkham with him and Jim,
so
where Jim outfoxed him with the rhymes, and he started blurting stuff out and couldn't control himself because of the rhymes. Yeah. That was fun. Mm-hmm. That was a highlight for this first half of the season.
And it made Jim actually seem smart and less like a brute like they usually go with.
He did have a Joker-esque quality about him, like all of his goons and his elaborate
I was going to say, I liked his henchmen too.
Yeah,
I like that they gave somebody henchmen.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum, his actual henchmen from the comic book. Mm-hmm. They actually got more of a backstory than a lot of the...
It's true.
So what happened to Alice's blood to make it hell?
I have not answered that question.
Because if they are brother and sister,
I feel like it's just a Deus Ex Machina, okay, we need more people with supernatural-ish strength and anger.
How can we get there? Oh, let's have a host.
Yeah.
Except...
But she's dead.
Well, she's dead, and plus her disease has spread to Captain Barnes.
Well,
who's not captain anymore because he's
congratulations on ruining one of the better characters in the first or the second half of season 2 by giving him the
They made him a serial murderer.
remember?
No.
Doping.
That got gruesome.
With a weird blood virus thing that they have not explained. Because that was not clear either. At first I was really trying to puzzle over, was Alice one of the Indian hill people?
That's what it seemed like at first, but they didn't quite say.
No, they didn't. And they didn't explain how it happened. And then this kind of weird sort of, I guess it's incestuous dynamic was very dark and...
It seems to come from his side and she's not happy with it.
Yeah, and kind of unusually dark for this particular villain. Mm-hmm. Which I couldn't puzzle together completely. But I did like Benedict Samuel's portrayal.
The acting was fine.
From what he was given, you know?
I think that comes down to it in 90% of this show that the actors do a great job with what they're given. There's the occasional miss, like Fish Mooney, like Barbara Keane. But for the most part, the actors do a great job with what
I think Corey
they're
Michael
given.
Smith is like the perfect Riddler, and it's being wasted in this show.
I know, he's my favorite.
I did read an interview with him this week where he says the Riddler costume and things are coming, and he's lobbying very hard for a cane.
Yeah.
I thought that
excites me. Me too.
I mean, that's basically what I'm hanging on for, is to see full Riddler.
Full Riddler will be great.
The Riddler is my favorite.
We've essentially got full Penguin already.
Pretty much, he's close.
In fact, he was more Penguin before becoming the mayor than since becoming the mayor.
Yeah, like why?
A little bit emotional.
He doesn't need to be a mayor.
He's a little less sociopathic. I don't understand why he even wanted to be a mayor. I guess maybe because he had all the power. I guess it's the simple explanation. But what did we think of...
I missed the actor who played the mayor, though. Not that he was
Richard
completely
Kind?
there.
Yeah.
As Aubrey James.
Because I'm used to him being way over the top with his acting, and he is doing a really good job.
He was pretty understated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for this show. So, Jamie Chung played Valerie Vale.
Why?
I don't know. Not Vicky Vale.
That's the why part.
Why Valerie?
And as a reporter, she's a reporter, and
Kyle kept going, Valerie Vale.
My only guess there is that they're alluding to her being Vicky Vale's mother.
You think so?
That's the only thing I can get from that, because with Bruce being younger and Vicky Vale being a love interest for Bruce later, that's where
I think you're giving him too much credit.
I probably am.
You're assuming they know all that.
Well, that's true.
Because my assumption was they wrote, let's bring that Vale character in. What was her name?
Valerie. You know how possible that is?
That is what it felt like.
Somebody wrote V Vale and they just made a mistake. We're lucky we didn't get Venusia Vale.
That's hilarious. I could totally see that being the reason they have it.
So what about this love triangle, such as it was, where Valerie basically became Jim's Lee substitute?
Rebound!
My problem with how many movies
Nick had frustration.
do we have a villain taking two people and making not even just Batman, but you have to pick one or the other to save or to kill.
And then they just shoot the complete opposite one, just for a laugh.
Yeah. And then I hated that everyone was sure they knew why he picked.
Yeah.
You picked her because you didn't love. I don't know. They all were like, it was just, that was annoying to me.
Although I will say, her disappearing after being shot was the most realistic portrayal of a relationship on a show.
Whoa, that's dark.
I'm just saying, because like in every other show, it's like
you are married
she would have came back and still been in love with him instead of being like,
I gotta get as far away from this guy as I possibly can.
That's what you
Because they're involved with psychopaths who shoot me.
That's true. Well, can't blame her.
Well, she even said she was right. I should probably get away from you because you only bring all of this stuff. So she did.
How bad a shot? Why didn't he shoot to kill?
Also, what
they were real close. That was a really. Oh no, she's fine. What?
Speaking of like the choice, the first choice that Mad Hatter gave him between saving the kid in front of the car and the couple way up on the bridge jumping. How was he supposed to stop them from jumping?
Like, even if
Hold on, I'll be right there. I had to save this kid.
I'm just saying, even if he picked the couple over the kid, they jumped after 2 minutes. There's no way he could have gotten up there.
Jetpack.
I mean, maybe he would have had Batman's grapple gun.
Look what I just found.
As I recall, a similar, although it was a much more personal choice, occurred in Batman Forever.
Yeah, it was Robin and his girlfriend, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
But in that one, he at least had a chance to save one or the other. In this one, as
true.
Kyle said, there was no chance to save that married couple.
No, there was no chance because the writers forgot that this is Batman and not Superman. Okay.
And Christopher Nolan did it with Joker. Just save the ship or the whole...
Or Harvey and his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's been done. And why the Mad Hatter has these two choices, I don't know.
Yeah, why? Yeah. That's valid. Why?
Well, also, the Mad Hatter just picking on Jim Gordon. There's no real purpose for it.
Yeah, why did he get so mad at him?
Mad?
Well, because they did explain it. You might not buy it.
I don't buy it.
Okay, well, the explanation, the listeners say...
Jim was in the same room when his sister died, so it's Jim's fault.
Right, which is why it's stupid.
It was...
Okay.
It was weak, but it is the Mad Hatter, so I can forgive it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least it was sort of kind of tied
too
to
weak.
something.
I mean, at least Mad Hatter went fully insane after she died. So his reasoning anything after that point, I mean, you can kind of just go with it.
Maybe that's why he can't hypnosize
Maybe
people.
he's the writer.
Maybe he's the writer.
It would explain a lot of the choices.
Tricks up in here. So, what do we think about the Court of Owls since they were introduced this season fully?
I still don't know yet.
I mean, yeah, it's just something to give Bruce something to do. I was more bothered by the opposite group, the Whispers group, who's just like, oh, we're going to help you, Bruce, and then at the start of the next episode, they're like, all dead, it's all up to just Bruce now.
I must say that was just like the Bruce clone disappearing into the wind. I was like, why did you introduce this intriguing counter unit of people?
Just so you can kill them all in the next episode. You should have just given them red shirts and been done with it.
This is what I'm saying. It just seems a little bit wasteful. And then we would be remiss. So last episode, we spent a long time prognosticating on how they could have recast young Ivy, who was
Ivy Pepper.
Ivy's previously played by Claire Foley, now played by somebody totally new.
Somebody hot. That's about it. They wanted another hot female.
Hot? I thought she was a little weird looking.
Yeah. She's a little weird looking, but she's attractive at least.
She doesn't look like she would smell.
The guy mentality. I would still nail her. That's guy mentality. Not me.
You're really going in a lesbian direction tonight.
It's a pro maybe.
Kyle, you got issues, man. I think they really just wanted to have a sex symbol female into the show, and they don't really have one at the moment. They pushed Barbara Keane away from that. They pushed Tabitha away from that. Lee was not doing it, and then Miss Kringle's gone, so they needed an adult female to try and keep the teen boys interested.
And it's obviously them also course correcting, because that's what most comic book fans, she was complete opposite of Poison Ivy. And it was like, how does she go from dirty street kid to
temptress?
Obsessed with plants, temptress. And one of the things I couldn't stop laughing at is when she killed the guy with the plant because he didn't water it. So then she smashes the plant to murder him.
Which Poison Ivy would never do that.
Yeah.
Like, I love this plant so much, I'm going to kill it to kill you.
She would never do that.
But Poison Ivy was another example of the writers not knowing what they were doing. Like, they have to be kids because Bruce is a kid. She shouldn't be a kid. Somebody will age her? That seemed real convenient, too.
Although I did like the episode where Catwoman just kept pointing out how stupid Poison Ivy was.
Yes.
That was a fun episode.
That was a fun episode.
Comedy of errors.
Selina's, her moments were my favorite moments, because she's pretty close to what Catwoman is in a lot of ways.
Especially now that they got her away from Fish Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And, there's that moment where, she's saying, when you look nice, guys just give you things. And Bruce is, in the background, yeah, you look nice. And Selina he gives her, stink eye. Thanks for pointing that out.
Going back to the Ivy aging thing, not only did they come up with a really weak way of making her be the adult Poison Ivy, but then because that guy who aged everybody took them to the point where they died, they're like, oh crap, he's touching her, how does she get away? I know, we'll put a hole in the ground that she falls away from him on. It was just, it's so sloppy.
Sloppy is a very good word for it. Although I do want to point out that I predicted plant hormones and it became plant pheromones.
Yeah.
Which is close enough. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I knew it was going to happen. Oh boy, that was. I did not like the Ivy transition. I did think that once she was transitioned, and those scenes with her and Kat and Bruce, plus or minus Alfred, were kind of funny and much needed comic relief amongst this rather fraught season. But
I'd like to see them do more with Alfred, because Sean Pertwee is a good actor and he
He's a
fits the
great
role
actor.
well.
He
They're
does.
just misusing him like they're misusing everybody else.
Yeah, they're not singling him out or anything. It's just across the board misuse. So
This show could very well be saved by turning it, instead of into a long continuing story arc, making it more a villain of the week. Because they're trying to do villain of the week with a story arc, and it's making it so disjointed at times.
Yeah, but other shows do that just fine. So they just suck.
I really just think that there's no writing supervisor, or the producers don't.
Definitely no continuity supervisor.
No continuity supervisor. I mean, here again, if you want to make a show and base it on Batman and do your own thing, you should at least be trying to follow. I mean, right now it just feels. I think we've all said it. We're all hanging on for individual characters as opposed to what story you're actually trying to tell.
Well, they're not. It's like they're not. They didn't realize what they did when they decided young Bruce, where we watch Gotham become the Gotham we know. They can't show us a character turn into the villain. They either have to have it all fully made, and then it doesn't make, I guess he just sticks around. We know Mad Hatter will probably still be around because Batman isn't even around yet. We didn't watch Poison Ivy turn into Poison Ivy. It happened like magic. We kind of got it with Riddler. We're watching that at least. And we kind of are watching. We didn't watch Penguin become Penguin, just his rise to power, I guess. Mm-hmm. But they're not sticking with showing us how they're becoming into these characters. They'll introduce a character, like Harvey Dent is just around.
Actually, he's not, because that actor has a pilot coming out this half season on NBC.
So he won't be in the next half.
He will not be, unless he finds a way to get away from that contract, but he's going to be on a show with John Lithgow.
Well, it is on NBC, so there is a chance that after 3 episodes it will be canned.
Yeah.
Well, except
John
This
Lithgow's
Is Us
strong,
got
though.
renewed.
This Is Us is fantastic.
Well, there you go. That's on NBC.
It's one of maybe a half dozen shows they've actually managed to keep beyond 2 seasons in the last 6 years, maybe 8. NBC is the worst of the networks for bringing a show and not giving it a chance.
Yeah.
It used to be Fox.
Yeah, it did used to be Fox. They seem to have traded.
Good job, Fox. You managed to get out of that.
What was the show that Nathan Fillion was in? Drive? I think it was an episode and a half before they cancelled it.
I don't even know. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Wow.
Was this before or after Firefly?
I think it was before. It was Nathan Fillion in a black Dodge Charger.
Oh, well, I didn't even know him until Firefly. Oh, no, except for Buffy.
I didn't know he was in Buffy, so there you go.
Yeah.
He's got an arc towards the end.
Yeah,
Right?
he's in the last season. Actually, he was in Firefly first, and then they brought him over to Buffy because of the whole cancellation situation with Firefly.
What show are we talking about?
Gotham!
Oh.
Apparently everybody just... What about Butch being the leader of the Red Hood gang?
Who cares?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's like you really,
I never really cared about Butch to begin with, and then they're trying to give him something else.
I liked the acting. I liked his doting on Tabitha.
He's a good actor, but
I just it felt like we've got Butch Calzine, we've got this good actor playing him. We need to have something for him to do.
Yeah.
Again, disjointed.
Lee's fiance, is that a character from the
Mario.
Yeah.
Mario.
Is he turning into something that is...
Oh, he's dead.
Falcone's son in the comics becomes one of a costumed villain called Holiday from a comic book called The Long Halloween, and so very, very different, very different than just a random virus angry guy.
Yeah, and they overplayed that with already having Captain Barnes that way, and then having Mario go the same way. It just again.
Did they establish that it could be transmitted from somebody else who was infected too? I felt like you have to get infected from Alice. But I guess if it's in Captain Barnes, it could get...
Yeah, if you got the blood on you, then...
Didn't Mario get it by being injected by Jervis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which confused me because it happened off screen.
Right.
And so the whole time he was like, I mean, there's like 3 episodes where they showed him flashing rage, and it was like, I kept being like, did I miss an episode? What happened?
And Barnes got infected because part of this impaled Alice dripped on him.
A drop of blood went into his eyeball.
Yes.
Which is a scene directly from 28 Days Later. It was weird.
Kind of derivative, here we say again. So the other couple of points before we kind of go into the wrap-ups and what do we think is going to happen next, minus any you might have seen so far. So one of the things that happens in this season is that Jervis Tetch, or Mad Hatter, gives Jim a psychedelic drug that leads him to flash back to these sort of weird feelings and images and memories, and one of the things he sees is a conversation with his father, who we believe to be dead, but then in a later scene there seems to be somebody leading the Court of Owls who has a ring just like Jim's dad. Do we think Jim's dad is alive and the leader of the Court of Owls?
I think he's dead. I think that was just to establish that his dad was involved with it.
I hope that's what it is, but I won't hold my breath.
At this point, I just feel like you could say anything and I would be like, yep, sure, it's possible, because that's just how they roll.
Although I did like that conversation with his dad, because I felt like that was the writers trying to bring him more in line with the moral Jim Gordon that we know from the comics. I felt like that was like supposed to be his turning around point, which he needs.
Desperately.
Well, and that did sort of incite him to rejoin the Gotham City Police Department and be a detective again, so...
And I loved Bullock's line in that episode when he comes back, and Bullock tells him,
they made fun of themselves.
He's like, if we stopped and threw you a party every time you left the police and came back, we'd never get any work done.
Yeah.
They should make fun of themselves more like that, though.
Yeah. Donald Logue is a fantastic Harvey Bullock, of course.
He is. I almost want him to break the fourth wall and say, it's almost like we don't know what we're doing.
If only, Spencer. So then we have really the love triangle is a love square, because Lee is engaged to Mario, and of course Mario, we find out, is Carmine Falcone's son, and there's this whole big to-do where she's like halfway in the mob, halfway not, I guess.
It didn't take her very long to move along. While pregnant, it was, 6 months, and suddenly she's engaged to somebody entirely different?
I mean, that's rebound for her, I guess.
Yeah, it is kind of rebound. She was just trying to play.
Where did she move?
Like Louisiana or something.
Mario, who happened to be
down south.
Yeah, down south. It had kind of a Louisiana feel. And then, Jim travels all the way down there, gets up to the door and goes, I can't be bothered with this. She's happy, I'm going to go away now.
He didn't say, I can't be bothered with this.
Subtext.
He definitely seemed to chicken out when he saw, her kissing Mario, apparently. So what do we think about this? Because this whole business, including their engagement pending nuptials, is kind of how this mid-season comes to a close.
I hated that she didn't believe Jim.
Yeah, I really hated that she didn't believe Jim.
Every time he's obsessing with something, he's right. And it feels like at this point she should know that. Or look for signs, and she just the way she's completely dismissive of him.
She's upset. I mean, that would be traumatic, but why would you so wholeheartedly try? I mean, maybe you wouldn't want to believe it, and I get that too, but in theory, she knows Jim more than she knows Mario, at least. That's the way I perceived it, but maybe not, because they just met down south or something.
Well, and I thought of all of the characters, Lee had some real consistency to her, but that could be because she's somewhat two-dimensional. And I just feel like the wedge that they...
Yeah, I mean, that's a generic storyline.
Yeah, why would she even want to come back and fall in love with him? I guess until Mario goes crazy with the blood virus, that's basically going to drive her back to Jim. But the real question is, why do we care? And then, so the part of the mid-season cliffhanger is that Jim comes to realize that Mario is infected by this virus, tries to talk Lee out of marrying him, fails at that. Carmine's thugs basically roughly show him the door. They get married, and then in perhaps their wedding night location or their honeymoon location, I'm not even quite sure what's going on there, Jim chases them all the way down with the intention of protecting Lee, because he figures out that Mario's diseased, and he shoots him dead right on the spot.
As he's getting ready, Mario's getting ready to
kill Lee.
Yeah.
Right.
But he drops the weapon into the water so Lee doesn't see that he was going to kill her.
Right. So she thinks Jim's just reacting.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about it?
I didn't like it.
You need to expound on your whys a little more.
She's an ME. She will be able, she's the first person that will be like, oh, he had the virus, and be able to believe Jim, right?
Except for the whole look of abject horror as his gun smokes in the scene.
I would just been like, hey, if you look in the water down there, there's a knife.
Yeah,
But she's not going to deny the lab work.
He was literally going to kill you. He was standing behind you to kill you.
This water's only about 3 feet deep. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll get the knife he had.
I also like how she's splattered with Mario's blood.
She should
his
be
horribly infected blood that sprays all over her face.
Does that mean she's going to be diseased?
Has to, doesn't
I don't think she will. I just think they like the visual. I just think they like the visual of the blood in her face without any.
Because with everyone else, when they've become infected, you see it instantly, and you don't see that with her at all.
I have a question. Did they ever say when Lucius went from being a board member of Wayne Enterprises to being a forensic investigator?
In the very first episode, they asked him what he was doing there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they shuttled me out of Wayne Enterprises, so I got a job here."
So I didn't remember that, and then he showed up and like, "Oh, Lucius, you're forensics." And
so we've gone from the Riddler to Lee to Lucius. So is this just they rotate people through?
Well, Lucius is still there with Lee.
Yeah.
Lucius still works there.
He does.
This is another example of the writers, though. Let's introduce Lucius at where he will be when Batman is Batmaning it up, and then realize, oh, he can't. Oh.
You know how some people test to
yet.
see if noodles are done when they throw them up at the ceiling?
Yeah,
see if they
spaghetti on the wall. I've said that before.
Oh, okay, good. You and I think alike. That's what's happening here, people.
I think what it comes down to in the end is that every problem that we all have with this show all just comes down to the writing.
Yeah.
Because the acting is good, the camera work is good, the fight scenes have been good.
Cinematography, sets are good.
Costuming is good.
It feels like
the blood on Lee's face might not be the writer's fault. They might not have wrote, she gets infected with the blood. It could have just been while they were filming.
Yeah, on set they're like,
throw
oh, this
some blood
looks
on
good.
her, not realizing, oh, it's infected. That could have... That's the only thing that.
And that's where the continuity director that apparently doesn't exist in this universe would have said, wait a minute, we've got a problem there, that's infected blood.
So the other piece of the mid-season cliffhanger, well, there's a couple of things, but the biggest other piece of the mid-season cliffhanger is that Nigma, so, we should flesh this story out a little bit more. So we've already mentioned the miraculous doppelganger of Miss Kringle that exists also in Gotham City. I mean, you can buy that she has a doppelganger, but to be also in Gotham City...
Not even to mention that she dresses almost the same.
Yeah, well,
does her hair almost the same, has slightly different glasses, or wears glasses instead of...
No, there was a difference in the way they dressed, because Miss Kringle was going for the poodle skirt look, and this, whatever her
more
name was,
librarian-y.
Isabella, was more teachery with the weird white hair. Anyway, so,
still cute.
Yeah, Nigma finds his soulmate, who apparently is his real soulmate, not the fake one that he strangled the last season, okay? Well, Penguin, having been all moony-eyed over Riddler, apparently decides to, have Isabella, that's her name, killed by the cutting of her brake line, and then spends a large part of this second half of this first half of season 3 trying to confess his feelings rather awkwardly. Barbara, of all people, spills the beans to Nigma.
Yeah, somehow she figures it out over everybody else.
Including Nigma, who is way smarter than her.
And I don't think she could figure out her lunch order, let alone something complex like that.
Didn't she talk to the maid?
She did. She did talk to Penguin's Russian maid, but the Russian maid didn't say much. It wasn't like a he loves him sort of a thing. It was more of a, oh yeah, he's around all the time.
And it wasn't even just like she told him, she just had to spell it out for him.
Yeah, walk him through it. So then, of course, Nigma is enraged because A, his soulmate sociopath also died, and B, Penguin is,
supposed to be besties and he betrayed him.
Yeah, betrayed him in a big way and ruined their friendship by falling in love with him and killing his girlfriend. So
see, that would ruin a friendship, but
yeah, true. But
a really bad Shakespeare play.
What he does though, aside from torture Butch and Tabitha, because he initially thinks it's Butch, because him and Butch have this whole thing, is
that was actually a very good.
Cuts off Tabitha.
That was a good. I enjoyed that particular part of that episode.
Yeah. But then he Barbara for help in quote-unquote destroying Penguin.
But here's my thing, though. I think he's just playing her, and I think he's using her, which will be good in the future. At least I hope that's what it is.
I mean, yeah, but you just never know.
That's true.
Okay, can I go back to complaining about the Isabella thing?
You can. It's not even a non sequitur.
That was a fun hand gesture.
Like I said, I don't know why she couldn't have just turned her steering wheel. She had time to calmly say, "Oh no," or whatever.
And
She screamed the whole time. She was like, "No!"
But then she got calm right before the train hit her. It also was just very convenient that the train was coming. Like, while cutting the brakes is dangerous, I think the dead of night, not a lot of traffic.
Put the car in neutral and drive up the hill.
Put the car in neutral.
I would have liked it a lot more if they cut her brakes. We just see her struggling, but we don't know yet if she's dead.
It's not like she was going downhill with the brakes either. She was on a flat road.
She couldn't have been going like, 35 miles per hour?
She had her foot on the accelerator.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah, that part really upset me.
I just thought just to go back to what Spencer said earlier, and because I love Corey Michael Smith so much, there was some intrigue. It didn't make any sense, like you said, but there was some intrigue in this not quite Miss Kringle character, and then she was around for 2 episodes. 2 episodes.
Is that really all it was?
Yes.
It felt longer to me, too. Thank you.
2 episodes. They went on a date, they had a kiss, the next day she was dead.
They were
Not only did she look exactly like the person, she also, how many people would be okay with, "Oh, you murdered the person who looked like me.
Yeah,
she tried to bring it out of him. She brought it out of him.
That's why I'm saying she was his sociopath soulmate, because I think she was sort of sociopathic herself. She could have been another villain. Doesn't make it good writing. For all we know.
Yeah, and it's like the whole idea.
Writing, she could still be. We swept up the parts in
Indian
dustpan and we'll glue her back together, and now we have Psycho Woman.
Wind. Hugo Strange is in the wind, so we don't know. Maybe she will come back to life again.
And it's like what they're going for. The whole idea, a war between Penguin and Riddler, it's brilliant. But how they're doing it
the setup
is
terrible.
And Riddler got the whole contraption with the cutting off the hands, and that was like straight out of a Saw movie. It was.
Thank you.
It was fun though.
But everything is just
I did really like they get to the hospital and
ripped off of everything else, and they don't have to rip off anything. It's Batman.
Well, Butch
you can't say that word.
Let's also point out though that after all of that has happened, Butch and Tabitha are now okay with it.
Yeah, right? They were really over that.
Wait, what?
No, Tabitha wasn't. Barbara had to calm her down.
Yeah, but
She's like, it's alright, girl, calm down.
I mean, she didn't fight very hard, I'll grant you, but she wasn't okay with it. I'm just clarifying.
Okay, maybe a little bit of a strong thing, but she didn't act the way her character has been portrayed all the way through the show so far.
Well, really, how has her character been portrayed? Because I do not understand or care about Tabitha Gallivan.
I don't care about her either, but she's always been portrayed as a killer.
Yeah.
Every time I saw her, I was like, "Who is this again?" I couldn't remember who she was connected.
That was me in the beginning. Now I kind of have it though.
Because, you know,
I just still can't believe she's still around.
Right?
Like, her storyline was played out in season 2. Now she's just a background character.
I don't understand why she's still there. Gallivan is, well, unless they're playing it, mopping up the splattered remnants of Azrael.
They will get the dustpan and brush.
It's Spencer's dustpan!
And then a little bit of the Isabella and Azrael together, and you'll get a female Azrael.
No.
I wouldn't put anything past these writers. That's the problem with this show.
See, every time we get together to talk about it, I'm like, damn you, Gotham! But then when I'm watching it, I'm like,
it's the same.
It's
but then when you actually have somebody to talk to about the plot holes and the huge problems that it really has, it brings it all coming out.
Or the plot canyons.
Yeah, more like black holes in the universe.
That's right.
No, I'm too stuck on it when I'm watching it.
What makes a good show for me is the rewatchability factor, and I don't know if this will hold up.
They'd have to come up with some sort of fantastic ending, and I just don't see that.
Let's put it in context. Let's put it in some context with the other superhero or comic book shows that have been out there.
Okay.
Smallville.
Great.
Really good show, lasted 10 seasons.
Yep.
Arrow, Flash, even Legends of Tomorrow with its flaws, and Supergirl are all currently, for me, ahead of Gotham.
Oh,
absolutely.
If they announced tomorrow that they were cancelling Gotham...
No.
Come on, stop.
Yeah, don't even. You're gonna get totally creamed in this room.
He
doesn't like Supergirl.
I think that writing is real clunky.
This is wrong!
Supergirl.
It's more the dialogue between.
There is some problems with Supergirl. I'll give you
the actors
that.
are overcoming for me. That the Gotham, at least the actors are overcoming it.
I can see a little bit of what he's saying there.
Yeah.
But if tomorrow morning we all woke up and saw the press release that says that Gotham has been cancelled effective immediately, would any of us really be upset?
No.
And that doesn't come down to the really good acting. It doesn't come down to all of the things we've mentioned that are good about the show. It all comes down to having such a crappy team of story writers.
Well, we're in a world where I don't think we're worried that the actors we enjoyed watching won't get other jobs.
Yeah.
They probably in a comic book shows, and there's enough of those out there right now. And there isn't a dynamic enough storyline where I'm like, just finish this with it. Doesn't matter. We've seen Batman become Batman like 7 times, so.
Speaking of non-dynamic storytelling, does anybody care what Selina stole from the Court of Owls vault?
The crystal thing?
Yeah.
The glass owl.
I'm curious to see where it goes, because there has to be a reason for that part of the storyline. Now, will it be another one of those, hey, we'll show it again in a couple of episodes' time, but then we'll forget about it for 6 months? Who knows?
Will it just be, just something they introduce as if it's going to be intriguing, but then it's just another really stupid plot.
But then that writer has gone on to do something else.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
You can!
Did Poison Ivy steal a random thing that turned out to be something?
Yes.
Yeah, she just grabbed the first thing that was
It
she
was
wanted.
sparkly,
Right.
it was green, and it was belonged to a rich guy that she seduced without seducing.
With all these other things that she could have stolen.
Because remember, she's still a kid in her
Yes.
body.
That's the other thing about Pamela
It's still
Isley,
random.
or Pamela, whatever she's called.
Ivy
Ivy Pepper.
Ivy Pepper.
Why did they change her name?
Yeah.
Well, she's going by
Valerie
Pamela. She's going by Pamela. She doesn't have the Isley part, but her new grown-up name is Pamela. That's why the quotes.
It's
when I
real
quote
dumb.
them.
So stupid.
The trouble is that they've made the adult character of her be stupid.
She's
And she's not. She's her character.
Pamela, she's
a doctor, for
super
one.
intelligent.
She's
no, I meant the one that's on
The one that's on the show is really stupid, which is so far away from Poison Ivy, who
Yes.
is a biological doctorate genius.
Yes.
And there's no potential for this version of the character to get
Okay, I
there.
see what you're saying there. Okay. I was going to say that she is a kid mentally, so she's working. She could become that, but you're right.
But
it doesn't
there's no-
seem like that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, even...
Unless another Indian Hill escapee touches her and gives her
You go back and look at any person that is that advanced mentally in some facet of life, you go back and see them as a kid, you can see that in them.
Yeah.
You cannot see that in this character.
like a musical prodigy.
Yeah, before she was just like
especially with her
weird.
pheromones.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that makes sense if she is the doctor from the comics, who that's her specialty and she knows everything about him. The only other explanation is she has powers, but they never covered that. That she just knows how to like mix together these plants that make it, and
which they've mentioned like twice before. I mean, really, the setup for the whole plant affinity probably was Twitter reaction, like you said.
You know what they're doing? They're relying a lot on the Batman fan base knowing the characters in the first place to get away with sloppy writing.
So they
We don't have to write it. They already know that what she becomes.
They don't. I bet they don't have a Bible. Like I bet instead of like most shows have a Bible that they go to, they were like, well, we have all these comics we'll just pull from instead of.
Well, I actually think there's just a lot of people who watch the show who don't actually read them. They just know a general idea about like the characters.
But as someone who doesn't read them, it's still obvious the writing doesn't make sense.
Well, I was actually, because I was curious, because, we all speak so strongly about this show, and so I went on, like, the Facebook page to see if other people were commenting on it, and there are people on the Facebook page who are like, great job, Gotham, keep up the good work, and one person literally said, you bring not too much drama, just the right amount of drama. and it keeps me going through. And I'm sitting here like, what?
That's called astroturfing. That's where you have a friend of the writer go onto a social media and write a positive comment.
You know what? I can accept that. I don't know if that's true, but I can still accept that.
But even, I can't imagine somebody who has zero knowledge of the Batman universe watching this as a season and saying, wow, what great storytelling.
But there's a lot of dumb people out there.
What I've said before is how incredulous it is that they would have no knowledge of the Batman universe. We've said it repeatedly.
It's too ingrained in
It's one of the most rebooted superheroes, really.
Probably other than Superman, maybe. Probably the most.
More people could probably name actors that have played
Batman. I think more Batman.
I agree. And it just boggles the mind that... And again, we've said it repeatedly, it's off canon, it's not canon, this, that, and the other. But the center... Even if you want to say they're not their core characters from the comic books, these characters still don't have a core.
Right.
That's the problem.
Because I don't care if it's not... the closer it is to the comics, I would feel like that would get boring and repetitive. You want twists and turns. You don't want to know exactly what's going to happen to all the characters when you're watching it.
You at least want them to have some element of their... Rather than just, she's good with plants being the... coordinating factor between the two versions.
I've been experimenting with plants off screen, and I'm suddenly knowledgeable in biochemistry and plant pheromones.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we all talked about, like, a lot of people felt that the first season was a little boring. I still like the first season the best for me personally, because at least it may have been a slow build, but at least it was building, and it was more of a consistent build. And it was still touches of the character. Like, I remember going to work and talking with my nerdy work friends about it, and we were getting really jazzed about it, even though it's still, like I said, it's taken licensing, which we've mentioned many a time, but it was still okay with me then. It's not okay with me now. It hasn't been okay.
There are 4 characters on this show that I care about. The rest I wouldn't care if they killed them off. And they are Penguin, Riddler, Bullock, and Jerome.
My list is slightly different.
I thought he died.
No spoilers.
It's never everywhere.
It's been all over every trailer.
Every single ad, and they've announced at the end of season 2 that
because he was one of the highlights of season 2.
Officially he died. Officially he got brought into Indian Hill, and officially Hugo Strange was reanimating dead people. So you do the math.
But they not only killed him, they showed how it was spreading. People saw his message that we would get not only another Joker, but the Batman Beyond, where Jokers are the gang villain.
And they've said in the ads the entire second half will be essentially about the cult of the Joker, and they said
instead
Harley Quinn will be in the season finale too.
They've been talking about actually Harley Quinn for a while now.
But I don't. They still haven't said whether Jerome is going to be the Joker or not. Yeah. The thing is,
Harley Quinn's got to be the psychiatrist at Arkham first, right?
Yes, and she has to be a little bit younger than Joker and Batman. So
here's the thing: with the Joker, he doesn't actually have a solid backstory. In one incarnation of the Joker, he actually says a line. When I think back to where I came from, I like to think it could be many different things. So I don't mind if they make him the Joker, but if you do it, stick with it. And you can't have Batman if you don't have a Joker. So do it right, or you shit or get off the pot.
Joker would have been a more fun character to see kind of as a kid. Like the Batman and the Joker were both kids.
Jerome is a late teen.
Do you want to bring up the Hush thing again?
That's true. The punch thing?
The Hush. In the comics, Bruce's 2 best friends become 2 huge Batman supervillains, and they never introduced him, even though the show is about a young Bruce. Like, it would make the most sense to introduce Hush and Black Mask.
Didn't they show a snippet of that when Bruce was at the private school?
He had one friend named Tommy.
Yeah, which was, like just a tiny little snippet, and then they completely missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
He hasn't been to school in a while.
Yeah.
He's been training with Alfred.
But he's not really training.
That's why it was in air quotes.
But they didn't see the air quotes.
Well, now they're
the emphasis was on the correct syllable.
I mean, I like the cute little moment. The only thing that I kind of enjoyed was the little moments between Selena and Bruce, because that's kind of how their banter should be.
Some of the most believable stuff in the
I'm like, this actually kind of feels not only just like a decent thing, but like it is somewhat a taste of what, like I said, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's a taste of what the thing should be. So,
and the portrayers are doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I like the kid that plays Bruce. It's not his fault.
I even like the idea of going back and having them being sort of childhood sweethearts.
Yeah,
and because that works.
That does work. I like that.
I think that adds more to their relationship when they're older.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like one of the best touches Gotham has. Even though it seems like Bruce is like at a standstill on his Batman progress. Like he boxes with Alfred after the first season. That's all he's done for 2 years.
They have some boxing in the kitchen.
So Selena's mom appeared.
Ugh. I forgot about that too.
That's your thoughts? Any thoughts about that? Do we care about that?
I don't remember that.
It was in the very last moments of the mid-season finale.
The only
After
way it
Alfred
works
takes out the Whispers assassin, or the Court of Owls assassin, with his badassery.
The only way it's going to work is if they use her for some of the backstory on Selena.
Yeah.
If they don't, then it's another pointless introduction.
That's what I think it's going to be.
I just think it's going to be one of these things where it's like she shows up and then and leaves really quick, and they're just like, okay, move on.
And did they show any interaction between her and Alfred when she showed up at the end of season?
A little bit, yeah. They did.
And he was immediately like a lovesick puppy.
Yeah, he kind of he did kind of like her.
You could tell, it was very obvious, and it
But they already did that in season 2 with Lee in the episode with Jerome at the party. Because he met Lee and he was kind of already being kind of lovesick puppy at her too.
Yeah.
Because historically in the comics, Alfred and Lee have a relationship. They both raise Bruce.
So essentially, Alfred needs to get laid.
Aww. Poor Alfie. I have 3 questions that you all must answer before the standard "Are you going to keep watching these?"
Oh, that's not one of them?
No. The 3 questions you must consider are: have the writers at all corrected for what has happened in season 2, in your opinion? Are they doing better, worse, the same, whatever? If you could talk to the writers, again, this was a question we asked last time, if you could talk to the writers, what would you say at this point? And what do you hope, if anything, because maybe you don't hope for anything, but what do you hope, if anything, to see out of this second half of season 3?
Alright, so what was the first question then?
Have the writers corrected for the ills of season 2?
A little bit, but they've made their own ills in season 3, part 1. If I could talk to the writers, I would tell them to give somebody like Kevin Smith a call and ask them for some ideas, because they are definitely not getting good ideas, and then they're having to write themselves out of the corners that the bad ideas are putting them in. And with all the promotion of Jerome, we know Jerome is coming, we know it's going to be some sort of Joker story arc. I hope that they don't screw that up the way that they've screwed some of the other stuff up. Especially with the way that Moynihan is playing Jerome. He's playing it like a young Joker, and I've really liked it. So if they're going to do it, they need to do it properly. If they screw this up, I will probably only watch it for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah, it's like if they mess up Joker, it's not something they can easily walk away from like Poison Ivy. Because, I mean, even if you're not a huge Batman fan, everybody loves Batman and the Joker. Mm-hmm. If you mess up either of those, then people will just flee.
Yeah, if they mess up Joker, I'm gone.
Ooh, from the moderator.
I mean, and he's not even my favorite. Exactly what Kyle said. There is no Batman without the Joker. There is no Joker without Batman. They're yin and yang.
And he's our, I think, CPU's top 5 number 1 villain, right?
He is, by Heath Ledger. That was a very specific choice, and I believe it was Kyle who said we haven't seen, or maybe that was Batman.
I said we haven't seen
that was
the
all
comic
of
book
us.
adaptation of Batman.
All right, because we also said the perfect Joker is Mark Hamill's.
Oh yeah, Mark Hamill's
animated Joker.
Fantastic.
If only there were a real life version of that.
The trickster.
Except
a little bit,
but
a little bit,
a little taste,
but he played the trickster in the old Flash,
and
he did.
So I like that.
That was a brilliant piece of symmetry. Who else wants to answer?
I'll go.
Okay.
I don't. Technically, I guess I didn't have a big issues with season 2 that they stood out as bad in season 3. So I guess I don't think they did make up for season 2. I would, bare minimum, I would tell the writers to talk to each other before, because sometimes it feels like one writer's doing this, then the other's doing that, and then they're not going together. And maybe think about when you're writing an arc not just take one character and that's the arc. Figure out how the other characters play into it. Look ahead as you're writing each episode. And then the other question, I don't remember.
What do you hope to see in this half of the season?
Can I say what I hope to not see? And it's
Yes.
basically what you guys said.
Yes.
Before I started watching the show, the only promotion that hit me was Rise of the Villains, Gotham's freezing, Mr. Freeze is coming. So I'm hoping that all they're plugging about the Joker isn't going to be a 2-episode thing, like they did with Mr. Freeze.
The one concern there with that is that the actor playing him does have a regular gig on a show that's, 6-7 seasons in Shameless?
Who?
The Joker?
The guy playing the Joker, Colin Moynihan.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how many seasons Shameless
Shameless is either 6 or 7 seasons in, and he's a regular. He is a pretty much every...
It has a pretty big... Because it's only, 13 episodes,
Yeah,
isn't
Shameless
it?
has like a big following,
So they have a...
too.
Well, I'm just saying they have a big hiatus.
But it also films in Chicago. So it does have a big hiatus. So hopefully it won't get in the way of it, but it could. It has the potential to.
Because I feel like what the actual arc should be that they set up for is Riddler versus Penguin. Like, their promotion should be choose your side. Like, that's what they should be going into. What they've
You're right! And I know exactly which one I would choose.
Yeah.
The Riddler for me.
What?
The Riddler for me.
Yeah,
Me too.
Riddler for
Yeah.
me.
I feel like it got a little bit better in the second half of this. If we get more episodes, like the episode where it's Jim interrogating Mad Hatter in Arkham, like that felt very something. That felt like Jim Gordon from the comics trying to get something out of the Mad Hatter from the comics. Like that felt perfect. If they can stick with that tone and keep it up, then I'll keep watching and my enthusiasm will go up. But they immediately went from that into the blood fever with Mario, so I don't know. I mean,
They don't seem to be able to take a thread and keep with it.
yeah.
No.
I'm hoping to see the Joker done really well. I loved my favorite episode of all of Gotham so far was Jerome at the party being like the best live action Joker I've ever seen, while at the same time not being Joker. If they keep that up and not throw his arc all over the place, then I'll be very happy.
Do I think they fixed it? Do I feel the same? Or what? How do I feel? I don't think... Okay, so I don't... For me, they haven't really fixed... I mean, they're just doing more of the same. It's just with kind of different people. And it like I said a couple times earlier, it just kind of wavers all over the place for me. And that is just systematically too much of a problem for me. And I just would like to see kind of what everybody has already said so far. I want more consistency. I want them to think about where they want to go with it outside of the obvious. And I look forward to just seeing more of just my favorite characters. I don't care so much about all the side characters. I think they need to refocus it towards all their strongest people. And yes, if there's a Penguin Riddler showdown, no offense, Robert Lord Taylor, you're really good, but I still think Corey Michael Smith is he's so good as the Riddler, and I love him too. So I'm looking to see where that goes, but I hope they actually go that direction. I mean, that's what they make it look like, but how can we guarantee that? There is never any sort of guarantee with any of it. I'll still watch it, of course. I've been still watching it, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
I agree with Spencer's take that they corrected some but also created new problems. I also agree with Kyle's take that the second half of the first half of the third season was better than the first half of the third season.
And the fact that you have to explain it that way is like they just wrote that sentence for you.
I'm just saying. Maybe it's Twitter, what can I say? There's just a lot of, everybody's been saying it. There's a lot of gaping holes. There's a lot of unfinished plot threads. And I don't even know if there's anything we can say to the writers at this point. They have overcompensated there and back again. Have they found their happy medium? And if this is it, that's pretty disappointing still. I just don't know. For me, it literally is these characters. I do like young Bruce. I think David Mazouz does a good job. I do like young Selena. I think Cameron Beacondova does a good job. It's the Penguin and the Riddler for me. And maybe this Joker guy, I don't know. My favorite episode from that same half with the formerly Jerome, to be Jerome again, was the whole Penguin and Riddler staying together episode.
Being roomies.
Yeah, where
that was a fun episode.
Riddler was Penguin's nursemaid. That's my favorite episode to date. And there was a little bit before the whole weird love thing, there was a little hint of that happening again when Riddler became Penguin's chief of staff. But that's, of course, all going to this purported showdown if it even happens. If it doesn't happen, I mean, I don't know.
That's a big wasted opportunity if they don't do those two going to war.
Yeah. They're the two strongest characters, and it's not because of a lack on any of the rest of the cast's part. It's just because of how they have set these two characters up and where they've taken them, and the rest of the characters. And maybe Selena too. Now that she's away from Fish, she's a little bit better again. But I don't know. It's really hard for me to say anything to the writers because every time I feel like I put out wishes or predictions, they're dashed and disappointed.
Well, when you say anything to the writers, it is almost like we're talking to the 100 monkeys on typewriters that are just bashing at the keys and coming up with... They're like
the monkeys with the symbols. They go,
if that is what's happening, good job, monkeys.
Yeah, good job for monkeys, not good job for humans.
You're strung together words. Good job! Yeah, so what do I hope to see? I hope to see... They better not screw up the Joker. He's not even my favorite, but you cannot screw up the Joker. That's like sin number one. And
just look at Suicide Squad.
Yeah!
I just saw that movie and I was incredibly disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought they were bringing him back, though. Jared Leto as the Joker.
They are very against it, but they feel like they're locked in.
You were horrible, I say.
But I don't know that he was. I think.
Oh, he was.
I think it was bad.
Did you watch the director's cut?
No,
with more
I did
Joker
not.
scenes?
No.
What they left in it
was worse.
It's thank God they cut him down because the scenes. His extended scenes with him doing full, long monologues, it's like high school theater.
Oh, no.
It's so bad. It's the worst. I mean, I like Jared Leto. He's really good in some movies, but his take on the Joker was really bad.
That is
I did wonder about the casting.
So-Called Life, wasn't he in My So-Called Life? I think so.
Oh, also, I would say to the writers, for the love of God, throw in one reference to Bruce being afraid of bats or obsessed with bats.
Even a bat-like weird experiment dude that Jim Gordon was like trying to get away from a window ledge. He had bat wings. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah. There is a character from the Batman universe.
I was going to say, isn't he supposed to be a really crappy reference to Man-Bat?
Yeah,
Is that a crappy reference to Man-Bat?
Well, he was one of the guys that came out of Indian Hills.
Yeah.
And that was essentially hey, look, there's a guy that's a bat.
So was the guy with the spikes who kind of looked like a dinosaur supposed
Croc.
to be Killer Croc?
Yeah, probably.
These are terrible. This is bumming me out again.
Part of the problem could be that we are actual fans of the Batman universe, and they are writing it for people that necessarily don't know the
because he
Batman
complains
universe.
about it too, and he doesn't care.
No, it's the writing.
Nick says, yes, that is not me writing bad.
I like Cesar Romero as the Joker. So
Well, so did I, but that was the first Joker I ever saw, so it's kind of
That was a different time.
There's a lot for
Gorshin
that.
as the Riddler.
Yes.
but not Jim Carrey as Frank Gorshin as the Riddler.
No.
Different times, people.
Yeah, a little bit different.
See,
Studios
I never was
didn't
a
give
fan of
us much
Frank
credence.
Gorshin as
But
Riddler
that's
because for me, Riddler was always suave and like I always grew up with the comics where he wasn't always the maniacal guy. He was always in a tuxedo and brilliant.
But he said, riddle me this, and came up with good riddles. It was Adam West Batman. What do you want?
See, but what Adam West Batman did, though, was they decided this is what we're doing and stuck with that.
Yes.
It still
As
makes
bad
it
as
fun.
Adam West Batman is, it at least was continuously the same.
I mean, because at that time, that wasn't those things weren't taken as seriously.
No.
I mean, it was probably close to what the comics were back then, too.
Well,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
it-
Batman didn't get serious again until like the mid '70s.
Yeah. It knew it was campy,
Yes.
though. I mean, there was the whole dance and everything. So here's the $1 million question.
Yes.
You're going to keep watching?
To
Yeah.
finish the season.
Begrudgingly.
Like I said,
I'll watch it in hopes for the Joker.
if they screw up the Joker, the only way I continue to watch is for the sake of the podcast if we keep going until the show is cancelled.
Okay.
Which at this point, they're rapidly galloping towards the cancellation, although they're getting viewers, so...
They still get.
They're
That's what I
pretty high
said.
rated for
That's what I said, because as I said, there's still people who are at least using social media to say how they do, in fact, enjoy what they do.
That says so much about society in general.
Well, we could go really far with that, too, but we don't have time.
Would you recommend Gotham to others at this point? Why
No.
or why not? Why or why not?
I think you have to already be entrenched in it. I don't think I'd recommend
Yes.
it to new people.
I would say...
absolutely not recommend it.
I would say that if you're looking for something that on an episode-by-episode basis is semi-entertaining, because we all sit down and relatively enjoy the individual episodes in part until we get together to discuss them, and then we actually find all the flaws and they make us mad.
And make us
I already
depressed.
see the flaws.
There's 100 shows I would recommend ahead of it, but I wouldn't say, if someone said, oh, I was thinking about watching Gotham, I wouldn't say, no, don't watch it, you'll hate it.
I probably would not. I would not recommend.
I would tell them it's flawed, but I wouldn't recommend it. No, but I wouldn't tell somebody, no, definitely don't watch it.
I don't know who I would recommend it to. I feel like people who like Batman would have already tried it, and people who didn't, I don't know why I would tell them to watch it.
I would tell the writers, don't show up to a Comic-Con, you'll be killed.
Yeah.
I don't know, based on your Twitter experience. Did you say people were like
But that doesn't mean those are actual...
Yeah, those aren't Comic-Con attendees.
Yeah. No.
Well,
I
would say if you're gonna watch comic book adaptations on network, then go over to the CW.
Yes.
I don't think this is the right vehicle for you, nor do I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is. We spent time talking about that. I think you're better on the CW for DC and on Netflix for Marvel for the TV.
Yep. Stick to the ones that are made by people that write the comics.
Or at least have an appreciation of the universe.
Right.
You can tell in shows like The Flash that the writers know the material, love the material. You can tell in Gotham that the people that are writing it don't know the material, couldn't give a crap about the material.
They think they're better than the material.
Yeah.
That's quite possibly true. We don't need to worry about... We don't need to take 70 years of canon and use some of those stories. We can just plot characters out and then screw them up.
Are they like new and experienced writers? Like, is
I
it
don't
just
know
cheap
anything
help?
about
I'm wondering whether it's a college course writing it.
I think you've said that before.
Or, yeah, I was gonna say.
They may have done.
I feel like it's one of the producers, like 16-year-old kids or something. Like, okay,
Here you
just
go. You
write
can
something.
have your first job. I have power here.
It might be. It might actually just be a game of Mad Libs being turned into a TV show.
Anything else you wish to say about Gotham 3A, otherwise known as Mad City?
I just like it for the couple of people that I like. Like, I love the Riddler. I really do like what would be Catwoman, and I like Bruce, and I do really love the Penguin, but I do not like his arc from the series. And if you can focus on those things, then you're probably going to be okay. But I wouldn't recommend it because of all the things we already said.
Well, with that said then, what I would like to do is thank our new version of our Gotham panel, which is a lot like our old version, it's only slightly new, which includes Kyle, Hilary, Nick, and Spencer. Thanks for rejoining me around the water cooler to talk about Gotham. I have this little conclusory statement. If you've been listening since January 1st, you've heard it. CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. That means give us stars, 5 if you're feeling it, or comment on YouTube so that we can spread the word more effectively. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, where you can also subscribe, or you can email us at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com. We also have Facebook and Twitter accounts, and we're adding new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. As always, as I say in the intro, we have several more new episodes coming down the pike. We're available and searchable via the web. You can find any of our old episodes in our iTunes feed, or just search for a show. We'll probably crop up. We're everywhere. Make sure you subscribe to the blog, any one of those channels, social media accounts, and stay up on our new events and episodes coming up. Until the next time, Gotham, through the end of Season 2, can be streamed on Netflix. You can catch up on the last 5 episodes on Hulu and on the Fox Network's website. Until next time, keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye.